So I honestly didn't really mind this one. Hello, welcome back to the James Rahm Reviews for yet another episode. In today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing for you The Accountant, the 2016 film featuring Ben Affleck. But before we get into all of that, I would give it out of 10 and stuff like that. I will give you a bit of context here right now into saying that I have not seen this movie until last night, and this is because in a few weeks, I think it's by the end of April, there's going to be The Accountant 2, which is a 9 years later sequel to The Accountant from 2016, right? And so for me, I was like, I want to see this because The Accountant 2 looked kind of entertaining. It looked like it had this cheesy action sort of vibe to it. I was like, maybe I could go and watch this in the cinema, but obviously before I do that I need to go back and watch the original, because that's what you need to do with a sequel. You need to go back and watch the original, understand the context of the movie and stuff like that. So there's definitely all of that. So I'll bring up a couple of things to explain why I enjoyed this movie, or you'll find out how I feel about the movie. So we will be mentioning the main plot of the movie right now. So if you've not seen this movie, go back and watch it on whatever platform you can find it on, and then come back to this video and enjoy the video for what I'm trying to do. So what you have here is you have Ben Affleck playing this character called Christian Wolff. And so he is actually this guy that works this 9 to 5 job as an accountant. But what you really do start to learn at the start of the movie is that he's kind of a special kid here. And the reason why I say this is because he was born differently to other kids. There's even things where they actually showcase how he wasn't treated the same way as the other kids, as he's actually on the autism spectrum. Now, the movie doesn't go on about, he's on this part of the spectrum because. The movie just tells you, this guy, he's kind of, on the spectrum because of the way he was born, sort of thing. And so he has to deal with this burden and this idea that he is different to the other guys, if you know what I mean, that kind of theme. And so he uses this as a kind of way to be able to do his job and do it the way that he wants to be able to do it, kind of thing. And I really do appreciate that the movie kind of goes into that. And so there's definitely all of that. The movie is on for 2 hours. And so what did I actually think about this movie now that I've kind of deeply explained what the movie is about? Because you've got him in the autism spectrum, but then his job, he's able to take out the bad guys, and he kind of slowly does this because he takes time to understand. And then later on in the movie, what happens is he ends up learning faster and faster and faster on how to take out these bad guys strategically. So there's all of this. Just I wanted to explain this a lot here so you can understand what I'm even talking about. So all of that to be considered, I actually really did enjoy this movie. Now, it's not a top class, top 5 movie of the century or anything, but it's just this simple storyline. And Ben Affleck's character, he really does kind of have this this relatable personality, where he's kind of like this awkward guy that's like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to approach this one. And then he uses his skills and abilities to come back from below and become on top. And I especially, relate to that, because in my life, just for examples here, there'll be times in my life where I'm like, when I start something, I'm not going to be as good as when I'm going to finish it. And that's relatable to everyone in the world. So it's really nice that the movie really hinders on that theme, and that's really cool about it. And I will be honest, the pacing of the film is quite long. The movie's 2 hours and you're sitting there just like, he's just doing a bunch of accounting nonsense, but really it all ends up paying off in the end, and it ends up making a lot of sense when you figure out that there's guys related to him in his past life that connect to all of the dots in between of what was happening. So all of that was really, really good. And then when you get the moments where John Bernthal's in the movie and he actually turns out to be the guy with the guns, and it gets into this crazy CIA type of plot, and you start to get some action later on, so you can feel like the pacing isn't very good, but it is actually a really big character study going on, so you can kind of understand why the pacing is the way that it is, and I really appreciate that about the movie. And John Bernthal is really fun and entertaining in this movie. And what I really do like about this movie, because this is a spoiler, in one of the final shots of the movie, you start to see Ben Affleck's character and John Bernthal's character come together, and they actually build a bond because they were both misunderstanding each other. Like, you're kind of on this other side of the plate here, where you're like, oh, I am, this guy, you're in a different kind of field from me, and they're just coming together and realising, well, we're going to split our differences and we're just going to be good friends to each other and stuff like that. So that is how I would say about The Accountant 2016 film. Probably give it about a 7 out of 10 because it's really enjoyable. Ben Affleck's performance is really good, and it's just an enjoyable movie. You can sit back and relax and enjoy the film. I would say it's a little bit of a thinker, but it's not too much of a thinker because it's a simple plot. And so yeah, there's a million ways you can describe how to feel about the movie, but I think that's how I would describe it. That's my most authentic, organic experience with this movie. So stay tuned for more like this. And yeah, that's my review of The Accountant 2016. Bye.